Hi, MM Network. This is Sarah Marshall, the Experience Architect at HumanWorks. I recently had the pleasure of speaking on the panel for Social Media, Promote and Protect, put on by Heather Laporte, and I wanted to follow up by sharing a short video on social media specifically focused on parenting. Parenting has really changed how I feel about social media and what I post on social media. The question really coming down to what is the right amount of content to share about my family. We've all seen two ends of the spectrum where people are posting every single moment of their child's lives, and the other side where there's not a photo to be found of their children. So what's the right amount of content to share? It really comes down to personal preference, of course, but what I want to talk to you today about is a couple tips that you can use as not only a parent using your own social media channels, but also how you can set forth some standards and expectations for how your family uses social media. I want to remind you that social media is a tool. We use it to connect with our family and friends, to see what's going on in the community, and of course, to build our personal brand. So we need to think about the advantages of social media, but also as things like the documentary The Social Dilemma share, some of the negatives or the risks of social media, things we need to be aware of. So first, a couple of tips for what you can do on your own personal social media accounts to protect your children. The first is, plain and simple, limit the photos that you're posting of your children. It can be really tempting to share all of the cute photos, especially as your kids are growing up, but maybe those photos are more appropriate for a family text thread or for a more private and controlled group. The second tip is asking others, especially grandparents, other family members, babysitters, to avoid posting anything, photos, information about your kids unless they get your permission first. That way you can control what's happening on social media about your children. This can be a tough conversation to have, so make sure you're having the conversations up front. Makes it much easier. The next tip is really to avoid tagging your location, especially schools. So really anything that you can do to avoid having your kids' location or their sort of day-to-day schedules out on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, all of those different channels is best. Think about things like posting a picture at your kid's soccer game and tagging the location of the field. And also think about those very popular first day of school pictures where you've got the chalkboard in front. I'm a fifth grader at ABC school, or even the picture in front of the school with the school name. The last tip there is really watch what you are posting, commenting, commenting on, sharing, liking, all of that sort of stuff, and particularly what groups you're involved in on social media. An example I like to give here is having a Facebook group that's not private for your child's Cub Scouts. And that allows people who are outside of that small group to see when the next event is, where it is, and who else is coming. So if you're going to use something like Facebook as a tool for connecting people in a group, make sure things are private and just be mindful of what you're posting. Now there are some tips that you can use for your whole family, and the first is set a standard for your family. Pick your age, the age that you'll allow your kids to start social media, but also, as fellow parents know, pick your battles. Really weigh the advantages and disadvantages of having social media in your family and not having social media. This is a conversation that you need to have, and really think about the risks, the social consequences, all of those things. Weigh it all. The second there is limit time spent on social media. Think about all of the other things going on in your children's lives. You've got homework and sports and lots of other things going on. So if you can limit the time spent on social media and come to an agreement there, perfect. The third tip here is understand the reason why your kids want to be on social media. So kids want validation, they want attention, they want likes. And of course, you can give them some of that offline too, but it's important to have your conversation about your child with about their intent and your concerns. The next is create a usage agreement for your family, especially if you have preteens or teenagers. So make it a conversation about what they will and won't do on social media. Talk to them about how they could come to you if they see something on social media that they are sort of concerned about, especially if it embarrasses them. Maybe like a code word or writing you a note or something like that. And also talk about how their reputation is impacted by every single thing they post on social media. So you can use some of these guidelines. First, for posts, would you say it to your teacher? And would you say it to grandma? If not, then don't post it. Is it respectful of others? Is it building others up? Would you be proud of it later? And what would you think if so-and-so at school posted something similar? Use privacy settings for your children and make them strict. So the first thing I want to call out here is no sharing passwords, not with your best friend, not with your boyfriend or girlfriend, no sharing passwords. The second is, of course, no accepting friend requests from strangers and no sending friends requests to strangers. And then when it comes to connections and things that you like or follow, remember that both of those are reflections of you. So your friends are a reflection of you. Things you like and follow are a reflection of you. If you wouldn't want your mom or dad seeing it, then don't put it on your screen. Don't have it up at all. Lastly, try apps that are connected to your own account. So Facebook Messenger's app is a great and popular tool for this. I can talk to my niece and nephew or my friends' kids, but they have approved that I can have that conversation, and they can also go back and see the exchange that was had. They could also block me or remove me if they decided they no longer wanted me to be in contact through that Facebook Messenger app. So something to look into there, something to start with if your kids are maybe a little bit younger but still itching to get on social media, maybe a good compromise. All right, parents, what's the first step you're going to take toward protecting yourself and your children on social media? I hope these tips and tricks were helpful, and stay safe on social and have fun.